Hello, welcome everyone. Assalamualaikum. My name is Farah Hayati binti Mustapa. I am a senior lecturer from Department of Computer and Mathematical Sciences, UiTM Cawangan Pulau Pinang. I would like to thank FDM Rembau Secretariat for a wonderful effort to organize this e-conference. Today, I would like to present my paper titled Event Study on the Impact of the COVID-19 Outbreak on the Malaysia Stock Market Returns. As an introduction, according to the World Health Organization, to date, more than 500 million confirmed cases of people with COVID-19 around the globe, and more than 6.3 million people have died from the disease. Entering an endemic stage, with the advancement and different sorts of antibodies to control the COVID-19 indications, nevertheless, we will never disregard how the coronavirus outbreak caused the overnight impact of exceptional human life. Apart from stock market, COVID-19 has severely paralyzed other important sectors of the economy such as tourism, transportation, trade and service, and many other sectors. However, in this study, we only focusing on stock market returns in Malaysia. FTSE Bursa Malaysia KLCI is selected as the benchmark index to calculate the abnormal returns in our study. The FTSE Bursa Malaysia KLCI comprises the largest 30 companies listed on the main board of full market capitalization that meet the eligibility requirements of the FTSE Bursa Malaysia ground rules. In this study, we would like to perform an event study to test the hypothesis of the market efficiency at the semi-strong level for FTSE Bursa Malaysia KLCI. This study will examine whether pandemic announcement has a significant impact on Malaysia's stock market. We want to investigate how does the KLCI stock prices respond, whether positively or negatively, to the pandemic announcement. Before we go further, I would like to get your attention on some facts that SARS and Ebola are some of epidemic diseases that separate in a particular region, while pandemic disease such as Asian influenza and COVID-19 outburst across a wider geographical region and affecting a huge population. In the literature, many studies investigating the impact of SARS and Ebola outbreaks on the stock market returns of the affected country. Recently on Russia 2000, SARS had more on stock market except for China and Vietnam. Meanwhile, Ishef and Marich 2018 found that Ebola geographic proximity of information to the financial markets has some impacts on the stock returns. There are numbers of related research in examining the effects of coronavirus outbreak on stock market performance. Liu et al. 2020 indicates that countries in Asia experience more negative abnormal returns compared to other countries. Hayati et al. 2020 found that the stock returns across all companies included in the Hang Seng Index and Shanghai Stock Exchange Composite Index are significantly negatively correlated with the number of daily cases and deaths of COVID-19 recorded. This claim can also be supported by similar research done by Ashraf 2020. Some study also been done regarding Malaysia's stock market. Lee et al. 2020 in their regression analysis found that increasing numbers of COVID-19 cases tend to adversely affect KLCI. Chia et al. Found that COVID-19 had negative but insignificant impact on Malaysia's stock market. Furthermore, Aldamari et al. Found that Malaysia investors react negatively to the MCO announcement. We use event study method to study the impact of COVID-19 as a pandemic announcement on Malaysia's stock market returns. However, we come across some limitation. This study is limited to one market index, which is FBM KLCI, and we obtain the results averaging across firms. We have 30 firms, and if we go through firm by firm, we may identify different significant results. To test the market efficiency at semi-strong level, we apply an event study method. To calculate abnormal returns. Then we calculate the average abnormal returns across the 30 firms in the event period. Finally, we sum up the average abnormal returns to obtain cumulative average abnormal returns. Here is the event study timeline. The period of event study is divided into two, which are estimation period and event period. The data of this event study consists of daily adjusted close price of the top 30 companies listed on KLCI. The estimation window should be long enough to calculate meaningful estimates of normal returns. In practice, researchers choose estimation windows ranging from 90 to 200 days. However, in our study, we set it up to 80 trading days prior to the event window to obtain the expected returns. The event period is from 26 February to 25 March 2020, which consists of the event day, which is 11 March 2020, when the declaration of COVID-19 as a global pandemic by the WHO. To study the influence in different periods, we set up 7 event windows consist of 10 days before and after the event day. In the data analysis, we obtain the abnormal returns on the event date. Then we calculate the average abnormal returns across the firms. Next, we obtain the cumulative average abnormal returns. Lastly, we do the cross-sectional t-test on the cumulative average abnormal returns. Here is our findings. As we can see from this figure, 25 out of 30 listed companies on KLCI log positive abnormal returns on the event date. However, only 7 companies have a statistically significant abnormal returns, which are Samdahabi Plantation, Dialog Group, Public Bank, PPB Group, Hong Leong Financial Group, Petronas Chemical Group, and MISC. Next, from this figure, we can see the fluctuation above and below the zero line of the average abnormal returns across firms within the event period. T0, dated March 11, 2020, is the event date. As we can see roughly from this figure, the highest point is at T plus 7, which is an average abnormal returns of 6.1% occurs after the pandemic announcement. In the other hand, the lowest point of negative 5.1% also occurs after the announcement date. Moreover, after T plus 2, the average abnormal return gradually increased for a couple of days, even though the Malaysia Prime Minister announced the lockdown of the entire country starting 18 March on T plus 3. From this result, we obtain the significant AARs on T minus 10, T negative 4, T negative 3, T negative 1, and T plus 5. To test the significance of average abnormal returns before and after the event day, we do the PET sample t-test. We obtain the p-value of 0.283, which is greater than alpha 0.05. Therefore, we reject the null hypothesis and conclude that there is a significant difference in average abnormal returns among days before and after the announcement date. Judging from the mean values of the AARs before and after the announcement date are negatives, which indicates that there is a negative sentiment that led to the decrease of the stock returns. Next, in this figure, the cumulative average abnormal returns plot shows the fluctuation around negative values because of the breaking news of the COVID-19 outbreak in the media. In the event window 0 to 6, the Malaysia stock market responded most negatively to the pandemic. Finally, this table illustrated the significance of the cross-sectional t-test on the cumulative average abnormal returns obtained. The results conclude that there is a significant negative cumulative average abnormal returns in all chosen event windows. In our study, we examined the short-term impact of the breakout of novel COVID-19 pandemic on the financial market of Malaysia. Event study results show that across the 30 companies listed in the KLCI, on average, the components of KLCI responds negatively to the coronavirus outbreak and the declaration of the COVID-19 as a global pandemic. As a conclusion, based on our findings, we conclude that the Malaysia stock market is inefficient at the semi-strong level and that the stock prices do not reflect the change in the market instantly. That is, the pandemic announcement has a significant impact to the Malaysia stock market movement. With that, I ended my presentation. Thank you for listening.